Brad's already talking. It's all right. So we're in the middle of the workday, and we're welding up some headers. So one of the most commonly asked questions is, what material do you use? How do you weld it that nice? All that stuff. So Jaybird's being Jaybird. But I wanted to go through the whole process of how we do things, and hopefully this will help you out at your home shop, or if you own a chassis shop, hopefully this can help you do it a little nicer. So this is a set of zoomies that we're doing for Ron's Corvette. The one thing that Brad always tries to do is every one of our headers, you'll always notice that there's not 117 pieces in this tube. We got 3. So he tries to build them with the least amount of pieces as possible. We're not real big on pie cuts, stuff like that. Every once in a while there's a circumstance that it needs to be done like that, but we try not to. So with that, you just want to make sure that your fit up is really good. So you can see, like, there's no gaps, nothing like that. That is literally more than half the battle, is making sure that this fits up really great. So this header this is tacked up off the car here. We've broken it off the flange so it's easy to weld. And I kind of got on my table everything that I use to do this. This right here is just a Scotch-Brite disc. What we do with that is I'll actually Scotch-Brite disc the whole tube itself. And then after I do that, I'll come back with just a regular Scotch-Brite and hand Scotch-Brite that, and we'll show you that in a second. The other big thing is acetone and air. So after you get done cleaning it up, you want to blow everything out super good, and then you take acetone and you clean up everything. And a lot of times I'll even clean up my filler wire just because it's been sitting, stuff like that. You want to get all the dust off. The other thing that we use is tape or aluminum foil. There's a lot of really cool, like, purge setups, stuff like that out there, but you don't need all that. Just tape will get it done. So after I get it cleaned up, I have my other welder rolled over here with the tank. We'll tape it up, and then I'll explain to you, what you got to do as far as gas flow and stuff to make all this work right. Alright, so we got everything cleaned up, ready to rep. It's all taped up. We got our gas line going in. One of the biggest questions is what do you purge at? So typically what I'll do, just to get this thing filled up, I'll turn it up to 10 or 15, and then let it chill for a few minutes, and then after it's filled up with gas, I'll go ahead and turn the regulator down to about 5, just enough to keep gas flowing through it. Our filler rod size is really important. So on our slip tubes, so like when we have a step and a header, typically I like to use an 045 thick wire, and then on the stuff like our butt joints when there's no slip fit, I'll set down to like a 30 wire. And then I also like to use 3/16 stainless rod. Typically all the headers that we build are 304, but I just like the 3/16. I just feel like it welds a little smoother, welds a little better. And then cup selection. So typically every header we'll use a FUPA, the number 12 cup. They work great with a gas lens, and really that's it, man. So then after we'll get this going, and I'll start welding a little bit and kind of show you some welding techniques on how to make it nice. One of the other things that we like to do is, so this is how the header rolls into the head. So when you're looking at the car, this is the weld joint that you'll see. This part of the header will be up against the block, and then this will be at the ground. So what I like to do is I like to start our weld back where you can't see the start and the stop. So when you look down in the engine bay, you never see that start and stop. It's hidden. And then this is stupid, but if I start here, I like to start and stop here just so that they both align. That's nothing that you have to do. It's just, I don't know, it's just stupid. I like to do that. So sometimes people ask, well, how many amps did you weld that on? I really don't know, because I keep the welder at full amperage all the time, and then I just control it with my foot. I've tried headers both ways, with pulse and not pulse. I actually like it better with no pulse, so that's how I'm going to weld this today. So this would be all constant amps with no pulse. This is just like a little machinist vise, and it works great for positioning the tube. The biggest thing is just being comfortable when you're doing that. So you can see that's our weld there, and this is our slip fit on our where the headers. And as you have post flow, or you have pre-flow and post flow. And what that means is pre-flow is when you hit the torch, you hear the gas starting to come out. You may not be able to hear that in the video, but you want to have that set where you have a couple seconds of flow before the actual torch ignites. So that way, when it ignites, it has it's already full of gas, like it has nice gas coverage. And then when you're done, we typically have them set up, around 8 seconds or so of. They're counting how many times I say typically. So I'm just gonna get them out of the way. But typically, at the end, typically at the end of when you get done here, you're going to be leaving around 8 or 10 seconds. But the biggest thing is, especially if you're a new welder, you're going to weld, and then you really want to like flip your hood up super fast and see what you just welded. So what happens is you flip your hood up super fast and you move your torch away. Well, this thing's still spitting out gas to keep the weld cool. So what happens is you weld, you rip it away, and then you have this big gray spot, and that's no good. So, and then the other thing is you can either do this two ways. You can keep your filler rod down there where the gas, so you're welding, and you typically stop at the end, and then you can keep your filler rod down there to where the end of the filler rod stays cool by the gas. Or if you move your filler rod, you just want to keep some side cutters available, and then cut off the end of that, because what happens is that is contaminated now if it's not shielded by gas. So the other thing that you want to do when you arc start, a lot of times guys get in here and you can tell where they start and stopped. What you want to do is where you see your ripples, you want to go back a couple and then start there and kind of manipulate your torch a little bit, and then roll onto the new, where there's no weld.